Welcome to our online edition entitled Your Financial Foundation, sponsored by HSBC, the Center for Neighborhood Enterprise, and the Western New York Prisoners Reentry Coalition. Let's talk today about managing cash flows, saving and investing, credit and debt, and being prepared. Before we begin, this content is provided as educational material only and is not intended to solicit you for any product or service. These materials are not a recommendation by HSBC for any product, service, or financial strategy. The suggestions and recommendations contained within are general in nature and may or may not apply to your particular circumstances. Securities, annuity, and insurance products are not FDIC insured or insured by any federal government agency of the United States, subject to investment risk, including possible loss of principal invested. All decisions regarding the tax implications of your investment should be made in connection with your independent tax advisor. Should you need further assistance, HSBC strongly recommends contacting an independent attorney, tax professional, or financial consultant. So let's talk about some goals for the day. Today we will discuss the pillars that help build a strong financial foundation, such as managing income and expenses, saving and investing, credit and debt, and being prepared. When you plan for a strong financial foundation, we set short, medium, and long-term goals. We understand when money is needed, how much will be needed, and how much is currently saved toward each goal. We detail the steps necessary to meet your goals, how much money needs to be saved or invested each month, and how should the money be saved or invested. We monitor performance. We regularly, and we suggest annually, compare progress towards your goals and the time remaining before you need the money. We make adjustments when necessary. Managing income and expenses. Cash flow equals money earned versus money spent, an indicator of how well you are managing your expenses versus your income. We add together all sources of income and we subtract all expenses. And then we ask ourselves, is income greater than expenses? If so, cash flow is positive. Is income less than expenses? If so, cash flow is negative. Managing income and expenses and knowing the importance of being banked. According to this particular chart, 25.6% of all United States households are unbanked or underbanked. 66% of this group use one or more non-bank money orders, check cashing locations, payday loans, pawn shops, rent-to-own agreements, and refund anticipation loans. Knowing the importance of being banked, you need to understand that there are high costs associated with being unbanked. Direct costs range from $30 a year to $318 a year. Being unbanked also hurts the ability to build a credit history. Benefits of having a relationship with a mainstream financial institution include saving money and fees because you explore low-cost accounts, begin to establish a credit history, and it can allow you to put some aspects of managing your income and expenses on autopilot and help you better manage your finances. So now we're at our first activity, cash flow analysis. So here we will review the activity handout, and then we will identify total income, total expenses, whether cash flow is positive or negative, and then we'll list ways improvements can be made to cash flow. Let's talk about budgeting. While we're talking about budgeting, we need to understand that we need to identify patterns of spending. So we'll use past receipts, bank and credit card statements for details, and then we'll look at 30 or 60 days. We'll track where our money is being spent. We'll place expenses into categories such as fixed versus variable, essential versus discretionary, or our needs versus our wants. And we'll include regular expenses, insurance premiums, doctor visits, etc. Look for spending ratios that are inconsistent with your goal. Here, this slide talks about average household expenditures. For example, housing at 26.9%, or entertainment at 4.2%, or personal care at 1%. When we look at this particular slide, and we'll see that 63.5% of this particular household budget is used towards housing, transportation, food, healthcare, entertainment, apparel and services, and personal care. So that means that all other items, for example, taxes, savings, etc., come from the remaining 36.5% of the income. Oh, here's a bonus. Save money by going green. Ways to go green and save money in the process. Becoming more environmentally friendly also can free up money for savings or investments. Examples of ways to find more money to save and help the environment in the process. So let's ensure tires on autos are properly inflated, drinking tap water versus bottled water, and buy a programmable thermostat. Let's see the worksheet for additional ways to save money. Saving and investing. Components of successful saving and investment. One of the things we want to do is set clear and realistic short, medium, and long-term goals. You'll start saving as soon as possible. When paying bills, be sure to pay yourself first. Use automatic transfer or payroll deductions. Save as much as you can. Try to save at least 10% of the gross income. Save 15% or 20% if your goals are more aggressive. Contribute at least enough to an employer-sponsored savings plan to capture any company matching dollars. When debt is paid off, redirect what you have been paying into a savings account. Investing. You have to know that inflation negatively impacts the purchasing power of money. Investing may provide greater returns than federally insured savings account. Investing generally involves more risk compared to saving. Returns are not guaranteed. You may lose some or all of your money. Many different assets exist in which to invest. Stocks, otherwise known as annuities or annuities, bonds, cash, mutual funds that invest in some or all assets. When investing for longer terms goals, consider how much money you currently have saved for this goal, how many years until you will need this money, how long you will need the money to last, how inflation may impact your investments, how much risk you are willing to take compared to anticipated rates of return, and if other sources of funding for your goal will be available. Learn about these investing concepts. Risk-reward relationship. Investors generally seek greater returns for more risky investments. Know your tolerance for risk and the risk level of your investments. Asset allocation. Money invested in different types of assets, stocks, bond, and cash. Diversification. Money diversified across asset categories. Money diversified within asset categories. Dollar cost averaging. Typically involves committing to a regular schedule of investing, not a safeguard against losses, but can smooth out price movements. Let's talk about some resources for help. Your local bank or credit union, online resources, local libraries, bookstores, mutual fund companies, certified financial planners, your retirement plan administrator. Remember, work with a financial planner if necessary. Learn all you can, take advantage of free resources. Read the fine print. Can't stress that enough. Credit and debt. Not all debt is bad debt. For example, buying a home, paying for college, advanced degrees, or specialized training. Of course, that's not bad debt. Using credit knowledgeably can help build strong credit history, can provide access to additional loans, and can provide access to the best terms available, for example, rates and fees. Responsible use of credit and debt involves keeping debt to manageable levels, consistent with income, keeping costs of using credit low, lowest interest rates and fees, and avoiding punitive charges such as late payment fees. I'm back again, and thank you for looking at part 1 of our workshop entitled Your Financial Foundation. Please move on to part number 2, and I'll see you in a few minutes.